So let's talk about Marilyn Monroe. I have a bit of an obsession with like Marilyn and um, Audrey Hepburn. I did actually want pictures of them on my wall, and I can't get matching pictures of both of them. And the one time I found matching pictures in like the same style, the same frame, everything, I didn't buy them, and then they were never in stock again. So, moral of the story: if you find something you really want, buy it and ignore your boyfriend telling you not to. Um, I she fascinates me because she's got this reputation for being a dumb blonde, and she wasn't. Like, you look at the people she was surrounded with and the types of roles she played, and to do that, she had to be really intelligent. You know, she spent a lot of time around writers and politicians, people that would have had quite serious conversations, and I find it hard to believe they would have had any sort of relationship with her if she couldn't hold her own. Then again, maybe they did like the dumb blonde thing and thought she would be a dumb blonde. You know, I remember watching, I think it was like the commentary on Mean Girls, and one of the people doing the commentary, either Lindsay Lohan or Tina Fey, was complimenting Amanda Seyfried and saying that the fact that she played Karen so dumb was a testament to how intelligent she really was. Because only someone smart could play someone like that, because they need to understand the joke and they need to really be confident enough to lean into it. And you know, Marilyn Monroe did a lot of reading. She was into politics. She was into poetry. She actually wrote quite a lot of poetry, and I've read some of it, and it was pretty good. I don't know how easy that poetry is to find, because the book that actually printed some of her poetry is out of print. And I think that was like a diary type thing. It's really a shame that, you know, even though she's so popular and so well known now, that side of her isn't talked about more. And I don't get why it isn't. Like, a lot of the stuff I've learned has been from reading stuff over the years, watching documentaries, and the podcast You Must Remember This has a really good series called Dead Blonde. And it goes into the lives of people like Marilyn Monroe, and the names of other people have completely gone over my head. That's really bad. Jane Mansfield, a few stars from the 1920s who died really tragically. I want to say Peggy Entwistle. I think that's one of them. And there was another one from the 1920s that died at like 26 of like quite severe illness. Obviously quite severe, it killed her. So yeah, definitely check out the Dead Blonde series if you're interested in stuff like that. Because it's really in depth. Like, I've never known anyone do their research more than she does for these podcast series. And she has quite a good series also on Charles Manson and his well, what he did and the backstory behind it as well, because a lot of people don't know about some of the other goings on and why he talked about these particular why he targeted, sorry, these particular people. So it's a really good podcast to check out if you want to learn about different aspects of old school Hollywood. Ellie says it sounds like an interesting podcast. It is. I definitely check out. I used to listen to it on the drive to my old job because in my first car, certain pitches of voices I couldn't hear on the stereo, no matter how loud I made things. And her voice and the sound quality just carried really well, whereas some of my other favourite podcasts at the time didn't. So I ended up listening to that quite a lot because there's already quite a lot of episodes by then. And they've done series on like World War II and how that affected Hollywood. I think it goes up to the 60s or the 70s. Anyway, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. Back to Marilyn. And this is where some spoilers might come in. And an alternative ending as well for the What Happens in Hollywood series and Trinity's arc. Trinity and Marilyn both played the game to get what they wanted, and unfortunately, Marilyn died of an accidental barbiturates overdose. And I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories around how Marilyn Monroe died. I do believe that it was an accidental overdose because she was taking the kind of thing that makes you forget that you've taken your medication, so she took some more, and if you forget that you've taken your medication, it is very easy to overdose on something like sleeping meds. And that's what happened to her. That's what happened to Heath Ledger. You know, unfortunately, it's pretty common. And she, yeah, she was quite drained at the time from everything that was going on in her life. And I think it was her cleaner that actually found her lying in bed, reaching for the phone, and just wrapped in a bedsheet. And I considered doing something similar for Trinity and having Liam be the one who found her. But I felt like that wasn't dramatic enough for her to go out so quietly. She would be the kind of person to do something publicly, regardless of whether or not it was accidental or intentional. It would be the kind of thing that was much more melodramatic.